to this message as our options have recently
Hi.
changed. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time.
Okay, I'm trying to get a hold.
Star. For the city manager's office, press 1. For the city clerk's office, press 2. For parks and recreation, press 3. For tax collection, vehicle registration, or sewer payment, press 4. For code and planning, press 5.
Okay, code and planning. Mom and I are making a video called Tales of the Victorian Rose.
Hello, Code and Planning. This is Erica.
Hi, Erica. It's Rose, director, calling back the code enforcement officer. He called me and I just missed his call.
Oh, gosh, he just...
Oh, are you kidding me?
You just missed him. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, great. So he called me at the last possible minute and walked out the door? Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. It's 11 o'clock. 12. Wait, it's not even 11. Did he go for lunch or did he leave for the whole day?
No, he'll be back. He went for lunch, so he will be back.
Do you think is he booked all afternoon, or can he possibly call me back? I mean,
No, he should be able to give you a call back today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Me too.
So the last minute call and then heading out. So yeah.
Who else knows the laws on electrical stuff in that building? It's got to be more than just him.
Wayne Marshall, he's our director in this department. He might be a little bit more familiar, so I can definitely transfer you over to him to speak.
It would be great.
Yeah, no problem. But I think as far as the code goes, it's probably going to be Todd. So hold on for just a second, and I'll transfer you over to Wayne.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I've talked to Wayne before. Yes, this is about the Victoria Rose and how hard it is for me to take care of her with good people. This guy who took my oil and then claims that... Okay. This guy who just said that I ordered him to clear out my 2 tanks of oil that were mostly full of oil. He says there were 250 gallons. And because they were... What? Right?
Why did he take your oil?
He claims I told him to take it. That's not... I didn't even get a chance to think about it. Riley was gone. He wasn't there. He didn't stay there. He left.
Oh, I know.
So he said the job wasn't totally done. Then the guys didn't come back the next day. And then they came back the next day and Riley had left and he wasn't there to see what happened. And I don't know what happened, but I know it didn't take him 8 hours to take that oil. It took him 8 hours. Oh, hi, Wayne. This is Rose, director, calling 82 Church Street. I was wondering if you could give me any information on the codes, the laws surrounding my house being at code. You know, my old Victorian house. I'm trying to get it to code and safe and get everything done, but I don't know. I've gotten different versions of what's needed. And I was just hoping since you're there, if you could help me understand some of what needs to happen at the house so that I'm doing the right thing. So I've got... Do you know my house?
No.
Okay. So I've got 4 apartments.
A note up front, if I could, is that if they're building code or electrical or plumbing issues, really the best person to speak to really is Todd Rosenberg.
Todd. Yeah.
And that's he's the one who we've sent to, he's certified electrical inspector, certified plumbing inspector, and no one else in the office is. So anything we say could be wrong.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just have to play phone tag with him then and try to understand what's required, trying to get some work done there. And, I heard from CMP who told me a totally different thing than the last electrician who told me a different thing, and then he can't do it anymore. So I have no electrician, and I've got CMP scheduled on the 22nd. And I don't have an electrician, so I was hoping maybe to understand what Todd says the laws are.
Right. Todd will be back a little bit later today. He just went out on an inspection here a short bit ago.
The laws would be written down online somewhere, right?
Well, I think the difficulty is for most folks, me included, to go through what's known as the Maine Uniform Building and Energy Code.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good sense of what code requirements are, it's easy to make a misinterpretation.
Right, but I just want to understand. How hard can electricity be?
What I'll say is the MUBEC code is not something that they make available to everybody. What we do in our ordinance is just reference the MUBEC code. The MUBEC code is actually adopted by the state of Maine.
Okay.
Our responsibility is then to enforce it.
Right.
The MUBEC code is, just looking at the book, it's somewhere in the range of about 450 to 500 pages in length.
Oh my God. What? I'm sorry. Oopsie. What was it called? The what code?
It's the MUBEC, what's known as the Maine Uniform Building and Energy Code.
MUBEC. Okay. Maine. Say it again. Maine Uniform Building
and Energy Code.
Okay. Energy code. Okay, because I believe there's
It's off the international code, international building code.
Mhm.
Maine made some specific exceptions to what's known as the IBC code, so they adopted the MUBEC code specifically for the state.
Okay, so does that mean the state's codes are slightly different than the national codes?
Yes.
Okay. And I need to adhere to both national and state codes. And state, right? Obviously. And
Generally, I have not found that folks have access to the MUBEC code without paying their subscription costs. It isn't something where if I go online that I can download it.
Well, I mean, as a homeowner, is the homeowner allowed to do electrical work on their own home like they could in the old days? As far as I remember, you could hire a professional licensed electrician, or you were allowed to do it yourself, as long as
It has to be you.
me physically.
Someone who's in the home who's doing the work. It can't be, your friend Jim or your friend Sally. It has to be you who's doing the work.
So say that I was doing the work myself.
Yep.
What would I then need to ask Todd to come over and review the work I did?
Yes, you do an inspection to determine whether or not the work you did complies with the code requirements.
Okay.
And that comes to electrical. Building code, there is no licensure of builders in Maine.
Yeah.
So you could hire Joe or Sally, doesn't need to know anything to do code work, and to actually do your building. They still have to meet the code, but they don't have to be licensed.
Okay. Honestly, I can't find an electrician very easily, so I feel like I have to go become my own electrician just out of need. I mean, I need electricity. And I'm not going back to kerosene lamps, which I did live with for a while there. And now that I know what it's like, I prefer electricity. I would like to power my house. But I am at a loss for finding an available electrician who's able to do the work. So, I'm going to have to go to take a class or something.
It's difficult to find electricians. I will agree with that.
Right. So I need to do something. I need electricity. Now, if you can't find an electrician, how is a person supposed to make their house to code if they literally don't know how to do it? They're not a licensed electrician.
What it may be is it's just you're on a schedule with them, where you would like to do it within the next week, and it may be that they can't do it for a month. Just
right. Well, what happens if you have it scheduled?
That's just the way it works. I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it in any way, but it's sometimes difficult to find either a good electrician or a good plumber to come in to do the work simply because of their schedules.
Right. So what does the homeowner do in that case?
Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to wait till they are available. Have you called the folks on our list?
Oh, do you have a list?
Yes.
Where's the list? That's great.
Yes. what we can do is we can get you a copy of the list. I can have put you on hold and have Erica pick up, and what we can do is email you the list that we have of electricians and plumbers.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds absolutely very helpful.
I really encourage you to speak directly with Todd about your specific questions of code requirements.
Oh, yes,
and
for sure.
He could talk to you about what specific requirements are, and frankly, we don't know them well enough to be helpful.
But he does.
He does.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to ask zoning questions, we can answer zoning questions from now to the end of the earth.
Oh, I have a zoning question.
Electrical.
Okay.
And, that's sort of out of our league of expertise.
Well, here's just a quick zoning question while I've got you. What's the status on multifamily units in downtown Belfast?
Where you are on Congress Street?
My house is on Church. My mom's house is on High, but I just wondered if there was any change. I know that the town was seeking. I mean, I need to do electric work, but I need to know what direction I'm allowed to go in. If they are allowing more apartments, I need to know that. If they're not, I need to know that. And so I was just wondering if you knew.
We have not initiated the discussion at any serious level to date.
Oh, okay. So still, it remains that there is no.
Today, it's still just a single family and a duplex, together with where we also have allowed a single family to have an accessory dwelling unit and a detached structure.
Right. So my mom's house is a single family unit with allowing to have one extra apartment. Right?
The maximum that you can have in a structure today is 2 units in one building.
Okay. So, this is my thing with my mom's house. She's got this barn, and it's a nice big barn. It's falling down. It needs a lot of work, like $60,000 worth of foundation work. That doesn't even include the plumbing or the electricity. So it's like a big problem for her. My mom does not have that kind of money. So the contractor, we had to wait, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited until finally it got so dangerous the cost went way up. So that did not work out for us at all, waiting, which everyone says you've got to do. But the problem with waiting in Maine is that the weather doesn't wait for when the guy's ready. So he was going to fix it before winter, couldn't do it, winter came, and now it's 10,000 times more than the price. But my question is, my mom's got this great big barn. It could be 2 beautiful apartments. It could add that value to the town. Or do we tear it down? Because, I just need to know what I'm allowed to do and not allowed to do now or what I can hope for. And if they're just going to say we're never going to get to it and we're not going to do it, I'm just going to assume you guys aren't going to change those rules. So then I'm faced with, do I tear the barn down or do I spend money I'm just really caught. Mom's caught between a rock and a hard place. I'm taking care of her. So I have to make a lot of these decisions on her behalf. And, I can't get any real understanding of what you guys want. I hear from all these people, you guys want to change the zoning so there can be more apartments. But then when I actually talk to you guys, it sounds like you really aren't ready to do that at all.
The council has directed us to work on other efforts first, which we did complete one on the accessory dwelling unit. Or in the very near term, it's probably going to occur in February. We're going to increase density for multifamily housing in some districts where they're not allowed today. But where the density is fairly low. So those are going to probably go forward in February. And post that time, we're going to take up the issue of allowing what we call conversions of single families and duplexes inside the bypass to allow multifamily. So if I were projecting today, and things can always go differently because things walk through the door that change what people's schedules are. Our intent is to start addressing that issue in March of allowing conversions. But it may take 4 to 6 months before there's a decision on that. Because I have no idea about what the public reaction is going to be.
Is it voted on by the public or is it voted on by just a few guys at the top of the rung?
Belfast is a council form of government, so whatever decision the council makes is ultimately the decision that goes in place.
So how many members of the council are there?
5.
5? 5 people are going to decide the fate of everybody, all the 6,000 people? That's how Belfast does it?
Yes.
Wow. So there's no popular vote.
They have for over 125 years. We've been a council form of government.
So there's no popular vote.
That's correct.
Well, that's not very... Well, I don't know what to say then, honestly. I hear from Mike and all these people that are like, oh, things are changing. All the brokers think things are changing, but then I just don't know. It sounds like the slowest process possible, and I don't know who these 5 people are, I guess, but I mean, what do they want? Do they have any? I mean, who brings up these? Does the public bring up the issues? And for the 5, who's on that council, by the way?
Combination of council awareness, planning board awareness, such, and so it's the third of 7 issues that the council's decided to move forward on with rental housing.
And who are the 5 council members?
Mary Mortier, Neil Harkness, Eric Sanders, Mike Hurley, and John Harrison.
Oh, okay. Well, if Mike's on there, he sounds very much like he really wants to do something, And in the meantime, while they're waiting, my mom's house is falling down, and we're just losing here because we don't know we don't know where to go because they're taking their time, and the weather doesn't wait for people, and so I feel like I'm just trapped, not knowing what you guys are going to decide.
And I would say at this point in time, I don't know either.
What is it leaning towards?
We intend to bring forward proposals, and we will see what the public reaction is, and then ultimately we will see what the council vote is.
How does the public see the proposals and give a reaction?
When they come forward, then what we do is we always put them on the city website. So, for example, if you went on the website today and you looked at what we did for accessory dwelling units, you would find it under the December 5th council meeting. If you look at what we're putting forward on multifamily density in the areas around the bypass, not inside, but around the bypass, you would find those under the December 19th council meeting. The proposal that came forward on December 19th is 99 pages long because it deals with about 7 or 8 different zoning districts, and it's fairly complex.
Who wrote that?
Oh, I did.
Oh, wow. You wrote 99 pages?
Yes.
What is your personal opinion on expanding?
I'm not stating my personal opinion.
Really?
What I'm looking at, I know that the direction that I've been provided, the direction that's been provided by the council and planning board.
Are you on the council?
No, I'm staff. Is that the city will take forward the idea of allowing conversions inside the bypass. How that actually takes shape and form, and if it actually is ultimately adopted, is one of those yet to be determined. And there was a decision made back in June and August of this past year regarding which ones we would take forward first. The first 2 were allowing accessory dwelling units. The second was to look at increasing density. And the third was to look at the issue of conversions inside the bypass. And so that one's the next up. And right now I'm projecting that that's going to start in March based upon what current workloads are. Okay.
So the first one was the supplemental. What was the word you used? Not supplemental, but I'm sorry.
If you have a single family house.
Yeah.
You could have one dwelling unit and an accessory detached structure, meaning that where you could have one in a barn, or you could have one in a garage, or you could build one from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
And our codes never allowed that in the past.
Okay, so Mom could put a separate unit in her barn.
Correct.
The way things are right now. Only one.
2 units.
Okay, so she could have 2. The way the barn, it's a 3-story, so she could have 2 apartments and then parking underneath or storage underneath. Is she allowed to do 2 apartments or just 1?
1.
Do you think that will expand where she could do 2 eventually?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. God.
It may.
Right. I mean, she's got a great house. If the town wants to have more opportunities to rent and to have places to rent and live and dwell, she could really fulfill that. But we're just losing money paying high taxes and not being able to function because we don't know what she can do. And it's impossible to tell the electrician what to do without knowing what we're allowed to do. Let me ask you this. Is she allowed to have she's got this huge Victorian, so she's got this big main house, and then she could have a little cute apartment up in the L with its own entranceway. And then she also could have a nice apartment or two in the barn. So, given the rules now, she's only allowed to have one extra. Is she allowed to have two in the main house?
You could have, Belfast allows a duplex.
Mm-hmm.
You need 2 units in one structure.
Mm-hmm. So that would, she has 2 units, and she could have 2 units in one structure pretty easily if I just tell the electrician to separate these 2 units out, I guess.
You'd have to look, there's other requirements regarding how you're going to put in firewall separation and things such as it, because there are now separate dwelling units. And those are ones you'll want to talk with Todd about.
Right. So I'm just wondering, can she, if I solve those problems, can she have the 2 units in the one main building and then build an attached outside other unit, separate unit in the barn? Is she allowed to have 3, the way the rules are now, on that property, which could have parking for 4 or 5 cars? So we could, serve the community and make her money enough to pay her bills. Right now, she's not making any money paying any of the bills because there's no tenants in the house and there's nobody living there, and it's just sitting there and sadly being beaten down by the winter, and nobody's in there keeping the fire burning, and we had to drain the pipes, and houses that are left empty are not beneficial to anybody, us or the town. And her house could be a valuable asset to the town. Like, what's the way to go about that, Will the town take care of it if we donate it to the town? Who's going to pay the bills on it? So we want to move forward, and we want to, with an electrician. It's a nice job for an electrician who wants a nice, big, huge, gigantic job. I mean, not every guy wants to deal with old knob and tube. That's what I need to understand with Todd is what do we do with this knob and tube? How do we redo this? Do we have to tear down the entire house to get it rewired properly, or what are the options? What happens if we don't have the money to do that? What do people do? Do they have to sell their house for cheap, how do we solve this mess we're in where we've got high expenses and no way to legally rent the spaces out, which it sounds like the town really is. I know plenty of people who would love to rent my mom's house and live there and call it home. And we just can't do it because we've had to shut the whole thing down because we couldn't get an electrician over there. And we couldn't get the barn done in time. I mean, I tried. I worked hard to get people on that job. And I mean, everyone's so busy, and there's like 2 electricians in the whole state. Actually, that list you're going to send me, if those guys are active and legal and they're all licensed and everything, that would be a huge, I would call them all and try to get somebody, and I'm going to take a call.
Put you on hold, and we'll have Erica get your email, and we'll send you the list.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
And then what you should do is we're happy to have Todd give you a call back about, what needs to be done with the building.
Right. When is the next meeting? I'm probably coming out there to, check over the work that's been done at my mom's house and my house, and everything's shut down. I've got to figure out what to do next. Is there a meeting in January that I could attend that would be pertinent to this, where I could express myself? No.
No. Your best, if you want to get a sense about where things are.
Yeah.
And I believe I previously sent you the memorandums I put together back in August.
Right.
About this issue. You can also get a sense, if you want to look about what we're doing today, look at the council packets for both December 5th and December 19th that are available online under council agendas. And both of those will show what we're doing now. One's already adopted, the accessory dwelling unit. The other one's coming up in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then on projecting right now, or anticipating that we're going to start working on the issue of conversions somewhere in the month of March. But that also is dependent upon what other work responsibilities may be identified by the council.
And by conversions, you mean taking a single family and turning it into a multifamily.
Correct.
Right.
And what that means today, I don't know. I don't know if it means that there's a limit of 3 units, a limit of 4, a limit of 20.
Well, wouldn't it matter? It'd probably be building by building.
Discussion about any of those parameters at the present time.
Well, it sounds like you have made some headway, so that's great. I mean, you've knocked off 2 things off the list, so that's good, right?
So, what we'll do is I'm going to put you on hold so we can get your email, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Thanks, Wayne.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.